Hey everyone, welcome to video number 4 in the Mary Kay Breakthrough Training Series. Hope you've been enjoying the first 3 videos. I've been seeing a lot of your comments and answering some of the questions, so I really appreciate that engagement. This is video number 4. It's the final video in this series. I got my sleeves rolled up. I got a fresh cut on my forehead just for this video. I did that just for this video because what happened was I was saving some babies that were being attacked by sharks. And as I was saving them, one of the sharks got me. But all the babies are cool, and I actually didn't even hurt any of the sharks, which is cool. It was either that or I might have hit my head on the cupboard door, but I'm pretty sure it was the sharks. All right, video number 4 in the Breakthrough series. One of the cool things about doing videos is when you tell a joke that bombs like that, I don't hear the silence. I mean, you know, I hear silence, but I'm on video, so of course there should be silence. So in my head, you guys are all laughing really hard. That's really good, because when I tell a joke that bombs on stage, the silence is actually kind of hurtful. Video number 4 is all about goal setting. I know goal setting is somewhat of an elementary topic, but most people aren't doing it right. And the reason I say that is because most people are simply not getting their goals. So if most people are not getting their goals, then something in the goal setting process is not going right. Now, what I'm going to talk about in this video is really the undercurrent of goal setting. It's the stuff beneath the stuff, right? It's the emotional stuff. It's not just how do you write a goal and how do you put it on your wall and how do you look at it and break it down into activities. All of that stuff is important too. But I want to talk to you about the internal game of setting goals. Because if you don't have the internal game right, it doesn't matter if you understand the actual mechanics of setting goals, you'll always sabotage yourself. So let's get into the internal game. The first thing is that I want you to have what I call, this is my favorite personal development concept, what I call, or what I learned as high intention with low attachment. High intention, low attachment. What that means is you are committed to your goals, but you're not attached to how it's going to look. You're not attached to whether certain people join your team or whether certain people buy your products. You're not attached necessarily to the date or how the journey is going to look, but you're committed to the outcome. It's kind of like if you have a goal to get a certain place and you're driving and there's a big 50-car pileup on the freeway. If you're committed but not attached to how you get there, then you'll pull off the freeway and you'll take the detour and you'll get to wherever it is you want to go. But some people are committed to the journey. They're committed to the way that it's supposed to look. And those people will just sit behind the traffic because they're not supposed to change lanes. They're not supposed to get off the freeway because at some point in time, they said, this is the way I'm going to do it, or they decided in their head that this is the way it's supposed to look. And if you're committed to the journey, if you're committed to the way it's supposed to look on the way to your goals, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I want you to be totally committed and have high intention on what it is you want to create, especially from an intangible perspective, the service that you want to give out in the world. But I want you to have low attachment to really everything else, because that gives you stability and also this word here, flexibility. Flexibility. One of the things I like to teach in goal setting is to be rigidly flexible. Rigidly flexible. You've got rigidity around what it is you want to accomplish in your life, but you've got to have flexibility to maneuver, through the different obstacles and the ups and downs and the time considerations and the seasons and all the things that come into account when you're dealing with humans, because you're in the human business, right? It doesn't matter that you're selling skincare and cosmetics, you're really in the people business. And anytime you're dealing with people, it's not going to be a straight shot. You all know that. So you've got to embrace flexibility. Most people judge the flexibility. They have to change the course because of other people's actions, because summer hits, because something happens that they can't control, and then they judge the flexibility. They say, oh, it's not supposed to be like that, or I am not as disciplined as I should be because I'm taking time off, or I'm taking a day off, or all the stuff that we have to do. Most people actually judge that flexibility and make it a negative experience instead of embracing the flexibility. That's one of the things, one of the reasons rather that you're in Mary Kay in the first place, is to have this flexible time freedom in your life, right? So embrace that flexibility, have fun with the flexibility. I could also use a couple other words there that start with the letter F. I want you to embrace, you can embrace failure, you can embrace feedback, and really, I want you to embrace fun. So there's all kinds of things that I want you to embrace along this journey that's going to help you ultimately get your goals. The second thing is, this is probably the biggest emotional problem that we have in relationship to achievement in general across the board in society. Not just Mary Kay, not just direct sales, but we have an unhealthy connection between who we are and what we do. So your achievements, this is something that I want you to really embrace, and you might have to continue to remind yourself around this or set up affirmations. Your achievements do not equal your self-worth. How you perform doesn't reflect negatively or positively on who you are as a person. There's a distinction between the person and the performance. And in society, we're taught that our self-worth, our self-esteem, our value as a person is really dependent on what we achieve in life. And that's such a gigantic, dangerous programming. The bottom line is, you have value as a person, period, regardless of what you have in your bank account, regardless of the title, regardless of the color of the jacket that you're wearing in Mary Kay, regardless of the success or the failure in your past. Your value as a person is independent from any of that other stuff. And the reason that this is so important is if it's not independent, if your achievements and your self-worth are connected like they are for most people, then there's going to be too much emotional risk. That's what this piece is. There's too much emotional risk for people. And what that means is if you go after your goals but you don't hit them, and you've got this unhealthy connection, then you're going to feel bad as a person. Your self-esteem is going to take a hit because you didn't become a red jacket by seminar, you didn't get into the Cadillac, or you didn't become a director, or you still haven't gotten into the national sales director suit after 20, 25 years in the company. None of those things should make their way into how you feel about yourself as a person. And what I know to be true is that when your self-esteem is solid as it is, you're going to be able to achieve more in life. You're going to be able to achieve more in business. You're going to be able to be a better leader. You're going to be a better salesperson. Heck, you're going to be a better mom, a better wife, a better husband, a better father, a better person in general when your self-esteem is solid on its own, right? Your value is finite. It cannot increase with more money in your bank account. It cannot increase when you go from consultant to director. It cannot increase when you trade in your current car for a pink Cadillac. Your self-esteem cannot increase when any of those things happen. And it also cannot decrease when somebody rejects you. It cannot decrease when somebody lies to you. It cannot decrease when somebody joins your business and then quits and asks for all the, for the refund of the product. It cannot decrease just because you've been in the business longer than you think you should have in order to hit the goals. None of those things can decrease or increase your self-esteem. And when your self-esteem is independent on its own, you watch how much easier it will be for you to take risks in your business, for you to talk to people, for you to ask for names and numbers, for you to warm chat anybody. It'll be easier because if they say no, if it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, your value's not going to take a hit. This right here it's literally life-changing. It really is. It's life-changing because you'll experience this liberation when no matter what anybody else says or does out there, they don't have the power to chip away at your self-esteem. They don't have the power to take any of your value from you. And when you have that clean, oh, there's no limit to what you'll give yourself permission to do. Because no matter what happens, your emotions, your favor, your judgments from other people, your opinions from other people, but most importantly, your judgments and opinions about yourself from yourself will not change, regardless of what anybody else says or does. That will change your life, and that will make goal setting and achievement so much easier, I promise you. The third thing is, when setting your target, whether we're talking about a certain number of people to join your business or hit the Cadillac or any kind of tangible goal or whatever, when setting the target, you have to avoid failure triggers. You have to avoid failure triggers. So what does that mean? If you've gone after the Cadillac before and you didn't get it, and then at last seminar or at leadership or at one of your team meetings, you told anybody else, this year I'm going to get the Cadillac, and you've already failed at that goal before, Cadillac for probably 99% of you is a failure trigger. Why? Because when you think of that tangible target, you remember that you failed at that before. And most people can't overcome that failure trigger. That's why most people in this business, most people in Mary Kay, I'm just going to be 100% blunt and honest, most people are still trying to get goals that they could have gotten easily if they didn't have these failure triggers and if they didn't have their self-esteem wrapped up in it, like I was saying before. So most of you are still stuck on goals that you should have already accomplished. According to the timelines, according to your abilities, according to your desire, you should have already accomplished them. But many of you aren't accomplishing those goals simply because they are failure triggers for you. So what do? You change. You either change the target or you change your attachment to the target. So changing the target means instead of going for the pink Cadillac, you go for $17,000 in monthly production. I intentionally raised it up a little bit, right? Go ahead and shoot higher than what you would normally do. And I would suggest go for like a weird number, shoot for $17,450 a month, because you've never failed at $17,450, but you've probably failed at pink Cadillac, if that's where you are, or maybe you failed at red jacket. So instead of saying my target, my goal this year, or over the next 3 months is to get into my red jacket, my goal is to, expose 25 women to the opportunity. And you've probably not failed at that goal, but you might have failed at red jacket before. So you have to, listen, goal setting is hard enough anyway. Life is hard enough anyway. Building a business, no matter what kind of business, is hard enough anyway. So you've got to do everything you possibly can to stack the deck in your favor and stop swimming upstream against the current of your emotions, against the current of your beliefs. So anything that you can do to remove a failure trigger, to detach yourself from your self-esteem and your goals, to set yourself up to win, to give yourself new hope, all of those things are critical, because the game is difficult on its own without you trying to go uphill, right? So our goal is to make your course at the very least neutral, if not a little downhill, so that you can use some of the patterns that work for you, the identities that work for you, the beliefs that are going to serve you. You can use all of those in support of your goals and dreams, not having to fight against all those things. So this is one of the big ones that most people really struggle with, and most people don't know about this. This is an unconscious trigger for a lot of people. And the other thing about failure triggers, or another way that this shows up, is if you've ever achieved something before, like if you've gotten into the Cadillac before and you've fallen down, watch how powerful this is. If you've climbed a hill and then you've fallen down from that hill, your unconscious mind is afraid of the fall. because that's when we get hurt, right? When we're actually falling down the hill, that's when we twist ankles and break elbows, and that's when we actually hurt ourselves physically, if you think of it as a physical analogy. So it's during the fall that we get hurt. It's during the fall that we also emotionally get hurt. So if you've achieved something, Cadillac, director, red jacket, anything, and you have lost it, right? You're no longer in the Cadillac, you're no longer in the director suit, you're no longer in that red jacket, you're no longer at that 30-person, team, whatever it is. If you've already achieved something and fallen down, your unconscious mind now has a failure trigger to the fall. And if you're afraid of the fall, then the fear of the fall gets transferred to the fear of the climb. The fear of the fall gets transferred and becomes a fear of the climb back up that mountain. So many of you, if you've already achieved something and lost it, are actually afraid of going after it again. Not because you're afraid of not being able to do it, but you're afraid of the fall. And if you're afraid of the fall, then you'll always be afraid of, going up any level, whether it's a huge mountain or a little molehill, because you don't want to fall back down. So that's another way that these failure triggers really get inside the unconscious sabotage and cause you to struggle with time management, or struggle with perfectionism, or procrastination, or fear of rejection, failure. All those things, all of those are actually created by the stuff that I'm talking about now. The triggers, the attachment to your self-worth and self-esteem, all of those things are created by all of this. So I would rather you understand how this stuff is created and unwind it from the bottom up, right? I'd rather you pull apart the recipe rather than just wrestle with the patterns. The last thing I want to talk to you about in this video is, as it relates to you just getting goals and going after them and staying motivated, here's what I found is the magic 3-piece ingredient, or recipe rather. You got to be fueled by service. In one of the other videos, we talked about serving the people, right? Serving women, making them feel good with skincare or cosmetics, or giving opportunities to people to change their life financially. You've got to come from this place of service. Be fueled by service. Track your tangible goals. So everything that I talk about in goal setting is not an either or debate. It's and. So it's okay to have your tangible goals, and it's okay to track them and know where you are. But it's not okay to only have that stuff, because that will not fuel you, especially if you're trying to motivate yourself inside of a failure trigger. That's why so many of you have all this internal conflict, because you're actually trying to motivate yourself to step into a fire that you're afraid of being burned by, right? And that's always going to create conflict. You've got to constantly motivate yourself to do something you don't want to do, right? So it's okay to track your tangible goals and to know about them, but that can't be the only thing. What I really want you to focus on are your activities. Focus on your activities. So how many skincare classes you're going to get, you're going to have on a weekly basis, that's a goal. That's not an activity. How many phone calls you make is an activity. How many people you want to recruit into your business, that's a goal. How many people do you want to talk to? That's an activity, right? Activities are the things that you and only you control, and there's only a few of them. Picking up the phone, talking to people, basically opening your mouth and making sounds is really all that you can control, and then whatever your body does. Everything else is outside of your control. So I don't want you to judge yourself. Actually, so I should put judge here too. Judge and focus, those are together. Judge and focus on just your activity. So I don't want you to judge yourself based on what other people say. I want you to judge your progress and focus on just your activities that you control 100%. And what I've found that's really important to do this is to have a tracking system. Have something that you can actually keep track of on a piece of paper or on your phone, something that you can look at that's outside of your head, because when you have a system and you're tracking activities, it automatically detaches you emotionally, because you can just look, all right, I had $300 in sales this week. I made 4 customer phone calls. But I want $1,000 in sales. So I probably need to make about 13 to 15 customer calls, and that could probably lead to about $1,000. Or I, showed the business to 2 people, but I realized I only warm chatted 5. And if I want to show the business to more people, I need to bump up my warm chat numbers, right? When you have that kind of a system and you use some strategy and just simple, unemotional logic, it's brilliant for your business muscles. It's really important for your business problem-solving muscles to see things in black and white so that you don't get emotionally attached. But I only did $300 this week and I really wanted to do more, and it just means I'm not disciplined and people are not buying. And really, you only called 2 people, right? Too many people are getting all emotional when they simply didn't do the activities, but they don't see that because they don't have a system. So I don't want you to be emotional around your results or lack of results. I want you to be strategic around your system. Now, a couple years ago, I actually built an app that will help you do this. It's called the Pink Caddy Success Tracking App. I'll put a link to it on this page, and it's available right now in both Android and iPhone. And it's a tracking system. So on your smartphone, there's a spreadsheet, and you can actually just touch the screen and it'll track the different activities that you have. And there's a tutorial video on there, so I won't tell you all about the app right now. Just download it, use the link, download it, and then get all the tutorial and stuff. But we have people that really swear by that app because when they use that tracking system, the way they approach their business just totally changes, right? So hopefully that's a game changer for you. When you have all of these things taken care of, all this internal, emotional stuff around goal setting taken care of, then you can do the affirmations, you can do the goal posters, you can set your goals and break them down and all the stuff like you're taught, but it'll actually work. Because these are the reasons that people actually don't get their goals. It's not because they don't know how to set goals. It's not because they're no good as a consultant. It's not because of the things that a lot of people think it is. It's actually all this stuff, right? It's the below the surface conflicts and belief challenges that people have that actually create the failure or the success. So that concludes the goal setting portion of this video, but don't go yet because I want to tell you about a program that I'm starting that's going to take all the things that we talked about in this video series and go much, much deeper. So I'm starting a new program. I haven't done this program with this content ever before. There's a little bit of overlap. Anytime you're going to talk about the Mary Kay business, there's always going to be overlap with sales and recruiting and some of that stuff, but I'm putting into this program some of the things that I've just been learning, studying, experiencing over the last year and a half that's brand new that I haven't taught before and definitely not taught inside the Mary Kay world. So this program is called Ignite Your Breakthrough. And this is really about you. This is not so much about your business identity, your business persona. That will get worked on as well, but this is about you. This is about you as a person. This is about maximizing your breakthrough in all areas, not just Mary Kay. This is really a holistic approach here. That's my intention for this program. The details of the program, the way it's structured, is there's going to be group coaching all the way through the end of the seminar year. So we're going to go all the way to the end of June. There's going to be 8 content calls, which is where I teach content. And there's going to be at least 4 laser coaching calls, which is basically like a Q&A call. I'll show up and I'll answer your questions. You can send them in or ask me on the line, and we'll just handle anything that, that doesn't make sense in the content or anything else that's getting triggered for you around your life, around your business, around anything. Anything goes, I talk a lot about business in the Mary Kay world, but I'm a life coach. Through and through, I'm a life coach, right? So I'm more passionate about helping people in their relationships, in their self-esteem, in their confidence. Now, when you make some of these shifts, your business will explode, or at least it can if you choose to do more activities. It can absolutely explode. But what I get excited about is the holistic success, not just you making more money in Mary Kay or you getting into that pink Cadillac. That's fantastic when that happens if it makes you happy. But a lot of times that actually doesn't make people happy because their holistic life is not in order, right? So this program is really about every area of your life, and Mary Kay is going to be specifically covered, specifically addressed with business and sales and marketing and, or recruiting and leadership and things like that. But the program itself is really about a breakthrough for you in your entire life. I don't know what that means for you. Each one of us needs a breakthrough in different areas, but that's what we're going to really go after in this program. You're going to have a private Facebook group, so there's online support as well. You're going to have archives for any of the calls. So if you miss the live calls, you can listen to the archives, or you can just go listen to them. Again, you can download any of the calls pretty much immediately. Generally, it's the same night that we finish. The downloads are available. You can put them on your phone if you know how to do that. You can definitely listen right on your phone. You can download them on your computer. You can put them on CDs if you want to do that. So you're going to have the audios, and you can use them however you want, just to constantly bombard your mind with all this positive programming, as well as the actual content that can change the game. And then I always provide handouts so that it'll increase the retention, right? We're going to teach you in as many different modalities as we possibly can. And I'm saying I'm going to be the one teaching the course, but I'm thinking about, my whole team that's going to be supporting you in this journey. So this is the structure and the layout of the program, Ignite Your Breakthrough. I always give bonuses, and I'm doing several things that I've never offered before. So hopefully this is of value to you and you like it. The first thing is you'll get 2 free months in the Eagles Club. That's our monthly program that I teach with a partner of mine. Now, we're not going to give you the 2 free months right away, because when you're in the program, the feedback that we've gotten is it just too much. There's so much in the program, and then if you throw on the Eagles Club stuff with the CDs that are sent to your house, it just ends up being too much. So the Eagles Club will start at the end of the program, right? You'll also get a 30-minute private strategy session with one of my trained coaches. I can only teach you in a group format so much. At a certain point in time, if you want to get the most out of yourself, you've got to have the magnifying glass, right, on you and your specific situation, what's actually happening in your life. So we have to laser focus on you, and you'll get that as part of this program. One of my coaches will get on the phone with you and help you apply anything that you're learning to your specific set of circumstances, so we can take into account your strengths, your weaknesses, etc. These are things I've never done before. When you get into the program, if this is a value for you, you'll get a $200 coaching coupon. Now, I am a firm believer that every single person on this planet will do better with a private coach. As long as it's a good coach and there's a good fit, every single person should be coaching with somebody, everybody. I still have my coaches. Everybody I know that's significant in this industry has coaches. And I boldly proclaim that coaching will change the game for pretty much everybody. If you decide to do coaching with our company, you'll get a $200 coupon toward that coaching program. And that's actually more than this program is. So if you decide to do coaching, this program ends up kind of being free, right? You'll also get a $50 product coupon. So that goes toward any products that we have in our, on our menu, so to speak, in the Mary Kay world. And we've got some great products around limiting beliefs and emotional mastery and getting rid of your fears, and a few Mary Kay specific products, etc. These are just for products that you'll get, and these are for the archives of these products. So if you want the physical product sent to you, then all you got to do is just pay the simple shipping and handling. But the product itself will be mostly covered. So those are the bonuses for anybody that gets into the program. But wait, there's more. You're also going to get 2 mops and 2 dozen hangers. No, I'm joking. But there's a fast action taker bonus, 2 of them, for people that join quickly. The first one is the first 200 people that get into this program. The first 200 people are going to get archives of every group Mary Kay course that I've done in the past. And there's 4 of these. There's Change the Game, which is the most recent one. There's Whatever It Takes. There is Effortless Leadership for Directors. And there's Finish Strong for Consultants. And each of these courses are very robust. They're 8 to 12 modules. It's over a $500 value if you add them all up. And this is something that I've never given away before, just archives. Many of you are from those programs, so if you already have access, that's great. But maybe you haven't done all 4 of those programs, so you'll have access to all of those programs. I mean, you're talking about probably 80 hours worth of training, and that's way too much to try to get in a few months, but it's nice to have access to all those archives to just handle any of the challenges that you might be handling. And there's no concept that I can think of that you might be challenged with in your life or in your Mary Kay business that isn't covered in these 4 programs, plus all the new stuff that we're going to do in Ignite Your Breakthrough. And then, this is for this video only. I will not be offering this on any of the other webinars or teleseminars. The first 7 people here that join, and you'll be able to join by clicking some link somewhere on this page. The first 7 people that join will get a 1-hour one-on-one coaching call with me. And that's not going to be a sales call. It's going to be an actual coaching call, right? You bring whatever issues you have in your life or your business, and I'll coach you for 60 minutes. Usually we give away half hours, but for this particular program and only for people that are watching this video, it's a full hour. And that's a $550 value. So if you're one of the first 7 people, actually, you're going to get this and all the bonuses on the other side. That's over $1,500, almost $1,600 of value. If you miss the first 7 and you're just one of the first 200, then it's only $1,000 of extra bonuses and value that we're adding onto it. And I'll be 100% transparent with you. You might be thinking, oh, Sean's just throwing all this stuff out and just trying to talk us into buying his course. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing, because this is the information that has changed my life. It's the information that's changed countless lives that I've been exposed to or I've had the privilege to coach or facilitate. And this is really, truly game-changing, life-changing, business-changing information. And I want you to say yes. I want it to be easy for you to say yes. So I want to overwhelm you with, not confusion, but overwhelm you with a lot of value. These are some of the things we'll be talking about in the course. You can't handle any kind of transformation or breakthrough unless you really talk about mindset. And I want to teach you everything that I've learned in 10 plus years in this industry and before that, just in my life, about what it takes to have the mindset of excellence. It's not good enough just to achieve. You've got to achieve and stay there. And that requires a consistent mindset of excellence. So if I didn't teach you the mindset that's required as the foundation around all of this stuff, then I'd be doing you a disservice. And you might run off and increase your skills, but your mindset can't hold your progress, right? Your skill set might take you to places that your mindset can't keep you. That's why you've got to be really aware of your mindset. So we're going to talk about the mindset of excellence. We're going to break down what it actually means to trigger a breakthrough. See, most people are actually ready for a breakthrough, but they don't know what a breakthrough looks like. They don't know what a breakthrough feels like. They don't realize that all these negative emotions they're feeling are actually requirements for a breakthrough. But they judge it and they create stories around it, and then they talk themselves out of taking shots because even though they were ready and standing right at the line of taking that step for a breakthrough, they sabotage themselves. And so part of creating a breakthrough is knowing when you are actually set up for a breakthrough and knowing how to create the nice little push for yourself and set up all the systems that you need, etc. We're going to talk about personal productivity. One of the videos already talked about that, but we're going to go deeper into some of the tips and secrets that I've learned to get just more out of yourself. How to live in holistic harmony, not balance, harmony. How do you make your life work inside the required flexibility of being human, having other responsibilities, and trying to build a business all at the same time? You can't be in balance when you're doing all these things, but you can be in harmony. So we're going to talk about that. And again, it's holistic. right? So that you're not losing relationships in the process, so that you're not beating yourself up in the process. You're not growing your income, but actually decreasing your self-esteem, which happens a lot. Or, getting unhealthy in the process, maybe putting on a lot of weight. That's what happens to some people as they become successful. They actually put on a lot more weight, or they stop some of the, patterns in exercising, or meditation, or prayer, or a lot of these calming patterns goes away just because they've become, more successful. So I want your success to be holistic and harmonious. We're going to talk about amplifying your energy. Not just your emotional energy, but your physical energy. I said a little bit ago in this video, it's hard enough to try to build a business. It's hard enough to try to get your goals. It's hard enough to live life. It's hard enough to play in the people realm. All that stuff is hard enough. But when you're fighting your own body, when you're fighting your own emotions, when you're fighting your own energy, the hard enough becomes almost impossible. So we've got to clean up our energy so that it's serving us and not keeping us hostage, right? And many of us are really fighting against our energy. So I want to teach you everything that I've been learning and practicing and doing as a result of that. We're going to talk about leadership, influence, and persuasion. We're certainly going to talk about sales and recruiting and all the things along those lines in the Mary Kay realm. We're going to talk about fear control. Your relationship to fear, as I said on video number 1, is really the game changer. So we're going to go a lot deeper on some of those concepts that I talked about in the first video and some of the concepts that I didn't, so that you can really manage, control your fears. We're going to talk about how can you grow with sanity so you don't lose your mind in the process. We're going to talk about managing all of the sabotaging patterns. You will always sabotage yourself. So it's not about getting rid of sabotage, but it's about managing it, right? And being able to control it. We're going to talk about everything that's related to achievement, more about goal setting, breaking down activities, affirmations, goal posters, time management, organization. We'll talk about all that stuff around achievement. But again, none of that means anything unless you've got the foundation right. And then we'll talk about whatever else you need. Whatever else you need is going to be covered. Hopefully you can see that on the video here. Whatever else you need, that's going to be covered on the Q&A calls. It's going to be covered in the Facebook group. I'm very interactive when I do these programs. Many of you know because you've done some of these programs in the past. I'm listening to you on Facebook. I'm reading emails. I want to know how it's going. I want to know if something's not making sense. I want to know if there are holes that I need to fill on the next call, or anything that I can just address that I haven't covered. So it's really designed to be a super robust program for you, and it's all around your breakthrough. Now, what's the investment? The investment, if you pay in full, the investment is going to be $199. $199. So less than $200 for what'll probably end up being, 18 to 20 hours of training time, training material. It'll be, I don't know how many hours, depends on how much you engage in support community, the breakthroughs that you might have, the realizations, the connecting of the dots, the releasing of certain emotions, certain fears, certain limiting beliefs. If you just got one thing out of all of that deliverable, all of those deliverables in the course, if you just got one thing that changed the game for you, imagine not just what it could do over the next 30 days or over the next 60, 90 days. Imagine what it could do over the rest of your life, right? Imagine if you learned how to really control your fears and stop certain sabotaging patterns. Do you think you could earn more than $200 over the course of the next year and expand that out? And when you teach these things to your team members and the ripple expands, what's the effect of that going to be on your business, but more importantly on your life, on your livelihood, on your joy, on your fulfillment? So that's the way I want you to think about it. You've got to think about this as an investment. If you think that this is just a price tag, then this program is not for you because you're not going into it with the right mentality. But if you think that you can invest $200, $199 into this program and get one thing out of it that's going to make you more than $200 back in your life, then it's a wise investment. If you don't think that's going to happen, then it's not a wise investment, and I don't think you should do it. But I want you to think about, what's the one thing that could happen in your business, the biggest thing that's holding you back. And if we help you handle that, what's the long-term financial, emotional, physical, spiritual, what's the long-term effect on your life and on your business? And that's what I want you to compare it to. Compare the long-term potential effect with the investment. And if the long-term effect is bigger than the investment, then you should do it. And if it's not in your mind, then you shouldn't do it, regardless of, any of the other thoughts. Like that, it should be that simple. If you're going to get more of a return than you invest, that's always a smart investment, whether we're talking about some financial investment or an emotional investment or time investment that you give to one of your team members or what have you. So anyway, that's how you've got to think about this. It's a business investment that could pay, huge dividends for you. And then there's also a payment plan. So if that's too much and you need it broken down, then we're going to offer it for $78 times 3. $78 times 3. And there's 78 times 3 is a little bit more than that. There's a little bit of a finance charge in there, roughly, 5% per month or something like that. So just so you know, some people in the past have done the payment plan. They got angry because they say, well, that's more than the full pay. Well, of course it is, because, we're actually literally financing this investment for you. So it ends up being, $220, $230, something like that. So it's a little bit more. But if that's what you need, then that's what you need. And one of my goals would be to help you earn that money back right away in the first call. Earn that money back right away so that the program pays for itself immediately. And those are 30-day payments. Now, this also comes with a 100% money back guarantee. I'm trying to make this a no-brainer. I really am. No questions asked. You just tell me at any point in time, inside of 33 days after we start, not 33 days from when you invest in the program, but 33 days after we start, which is on March 21st. So 33 days after that, that's going to give you at least 3, that's going to give you like 4 of the phone calls. That's going to give you more than a third of the course. I actually didn't even think about that when I put together the 33 days. That's going to give you a third of the course. And if after you experience a third of the course, you don't like it, you don't feel like the next 8 weeks is going to be, completely game-changing and you really want it in your life, then just let us know and we'll refund the money. No questions asked, 100%. So basically, the question for you is, are you willing to just give it a try? Are you willing to give it a try? And I'll be 100% honest with you about finances right now. If you're not in a position where you can make this investment, then something's wrong. Something is not going right, because you're in Mary Kay, which means you literally own an ATM machine. You have the same ATM machine that any of the national sales directors have. You have the same ATM machine as some of the people out there that are making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, that are riding in the free cars, that are riding the pink Cadillac. Their machine and your machine is the same. The opportunity is the exact same. So if you're not getting out of this business, out of this machine, what you want out of it, then there's something wrong in the way that you're doing it. Now, if you're not going to take my program, that's great. But you still have to do this work. You doing this work to fix whatever's broken, to untie the knots that are holding you back, that should not be an option. That should be a non-negotiable. The only question for you is, how are you going to do it and with whom? Right? If you don't choose me, great. Go with somebody else. But do not let your circumstances determine the joy that you have in your life. Just because you don't have money right now is not an excuse for you to not create money, because you have a business. You own a pink ATM machine. And if the circumstances and the consequences were turned up enough, you can make as much money as you want. If your children's lives are on the line, if you're a parent, if your life was on the line, if somebody else's life was on the line that you really cared about, you would go out and make money. So it's not your ability to make money, it's the way that you're thinking about the reasons and the conflicts that you have internally, right? Now, if I'm not a good fit for you, if you don't like my style, if you don't like the program, that's great. Then choose somebody else. But choose somebody. Choose yourself. Choose your future. Because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about your future. And if you're still watching this video and you haven't decided to jump in this program, then this is what you need to hear. What you need to hear is the truth about the way that you're operating in your life right now. And I'm not saying this with any judgment. I'm not saying this with any negativity. Listen, I've been there. I've been in the Carl's Jr. drive-through without the ability to pay the $11.17 or whatever it was that they wanted in order to buy 2 meals. I've been there. I've been through financial hardship of the highest order. I've had to take a look at my life and ask myself, what am I doing, right? So we've all been there. So I'm not sitting here judging you around that. But I do want to plant the seeds that you need to ask yourself, that you need to think about, that you need to focus on in order to make a wholesale change in your life, in order to make a breakthrough. You cannot continue the recipe that you're going on, or you can't even make little tiny shifts and have a breakthrough impact. You can't do it. You have to shake up the system. You have to change the foundation. You have to shift all the things internally that are creating your current circumstances if you want your circumstances to be different later on. So I'm speaking this to you with love. I'm speaking this to you with support. And regardless of what that looks like for you, regardless of whether this is our last interaction or you're one of the first 7 people and I get to coach with you for 60 minutes, regardless of how this ends up looking, that's the journey you've got to go on if you want a breakthrough in your life. And if you're sitting there right now with a lump in your throat, with butterflies in your stomach, with irritation in your heart right now, maybe you're swearing at me. That's awesome. That means you're tired of being where you are. That means that continuing on this path with these sets of circumstances that you've created in your life is no longer okay with you. And you have to be at that point in order to make a true change in your life. Because what I know about the human spirit is it's unstoppable once it decides that it's going to go after something. But what I also know about the human spirit is it generally will not change unless and until it has suffered enough. If you've suffered enough, regardless of what level of suffering we're talking about, because you can suffer in poverty and you can suffer in wealth. You can suffer financially or you can suffer emotionally. You can suffer internally or you can suffer externally. You can suffer physically or you can suffer spiritually. There are many different ways that we suffer. So I don't know how you might be suffering in your life. But if you've suffered enough, then cross that line of commitment. Cross that line into conviction so that 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, a year from now, you'll never be able to use your current circumstances as the reason that you can't go after your dreams. Hopefully this has been valuable to you. Hopefully you've enjoyed the whole series. Hopefully you enjoyed the little soapbox right there at the end. Maybe that's what you needed to hear. I'd love to listen to your engagement, to listen to your comments right here on this page. Download the Pink Caddy app. If you're going to join us in the program, then jump in. If you're not going to join us in the program, then hopefully you implement some of the things that I've taught you in this video and in the videos previously so that you can truly make a significant change in your life. Again, I'm Sean Smith, the Pink Caddy Coach, and I'll be coming to you in videos, with programs, in articles, etc. to support you in your life and journey in the Mary Kay business real soon. I look forward to connecting with you. Take care. God bless. Talk to you soon.